Hi there. Today we will talk about a chemical process which occurs in soils called cation exchange. Soil is a simple substance which anchors plants in the ground. We just need to provide fertilizer and the plants will grow. Right? Wrong. In fact, soils play an active chemical role in the agricultural ecosystem. One way that they do this is through chemical interactions. Today we'll talk about how charges in the soil affect nutrient availability. This topic is important for other areas of the agricultural science curriculum, including soil fertility and structure, crop production, grassland management, and environmental science. So, what will we learn today? At the end of this video, you should be able to list 3 cations required for plant growth, outline the mechanism of cation exchange in the soil and the functions it carries out. Finally, you will be able to give examples of how characteristics of the soil can affect its ability to exchange cations. In order to explain cation exchange in soil, we need to understand the underlying chemistry of atomic structure, electrical charges, and ions. Ions occur due to the transfer of electrons among particles. For instance, the element sodium has 1 electron in its outer shell, and hence it likes to donate this electron to become a positively charged sodium ion. Conversely, chlorine is an element which requires 1 more electron to fill its outer shell, and so it likes to accept an electron to become a negatively charged chlorine ion. The term for a positively charged ion is a cation, while a negatively charged one is called an anion. In addition, the opposing charges of cations and anions result in them being attracted to each other. In this case, sodium and chlorine combine to form sodium chloride, or salt. There are numerous cations in the soil, including hydrogen and aluminium ions. However, some cations such as calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and ammonium are vital for plant growth. Plants must have a supply of these cations in order to grow properly. Soil is made up of 2 main types of particles, clay and humus. Clay comes from the breakdown of the parent rock material, for example, limestone. Humus comes from the breakdown of organic material such as dead plants and animal waste. Both of these particles have a negative overall charge, and it is this characteristic that is important for cation exchange. A soil contains many of these tiny negatively charged clay and humus particles. These particles attract the positively charged cations in the soil and hold them on the surface of the soil particles. In this way, soil acts as a reservoir of nutrient cations for plants growing in the soil. Plants will absorb calcium and magnesium cations from this soil. These nutrient cations can be leached away by water percolating down through the soil. However, the attraction of these nutrient cations to the negative soil particles prevents this leaching from occurring. The ability of a soil to bind nutrient cations, to exchange these with plants, and to prevent them from being leached away is called its cation exchange capacity. As a result, soils with high cation exchange capacity tend to be fertile ones. So, what are the soil characteristics that cause it to have a high cation exchange capacity? Well, there are 2 main factors. The first is the proportion of clay and humus particles in the soil. These are the particles that hold the nutrient cations, and hence a higher proportion will mean a higher capacity to exchange cations with the plant. Hence, soils with a lower proportion of clay and humus will have a lower cation exchange capacity. Secondly, the level of other cations in the soil, particularly hydrogen and aluminium ions, can affect soil cation exchange capacity. These ions are also attracted to the soil particles and compete with the nutrient cations for these spaces. a high level of hydrogen ions can result in a poor cation exchange capacity, as they will bind to the soil particles and hence deprive plants of a source of nutrient cations. In addition, these on-bound nutrient cations may then be leached from the soil. This high hydrogen ion content results in acidic soil conditions and is one of the reasons farmers must spread lime on their land in order to raise the pH of the soil. Liming adds calcium ions to the soil in the form of calcium carbonate, which will help to raise the pH and displace the hydrogen ions. So, what have we learned? Well, we now know that the transfer of electrons can cause the production of ions. We also know that some positively charged ions, called cations, are required in the soil for plant growth. These include calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and ammonium. Secondly, we know that negatively charged clay and humus particles bind nutrient cations in the soil, providing a source of nutrients to the plant and preventing leaching. Finally, we know that the cation exchange capacity of the soil can be affected by a number of soil factors, including the proportion of clay and humus in the soil, and the soil pH can affect the cation exchange capacity of the soil, and that the soil pH must be monitored and maintained by the farmer. Finally, I'd like to personally thank the hard-working production team who helped put this video together.